Ukuphi?
Kanti-ke qobe ngoMvulo nangolwesithathu sirhatshela indaba zesiNdebele ku-SABC 1 ngo-5:30 ngaboLwesihlanu sidlegana namaSwati.
Lerato Malatjie is the founder of Olerato Yoga And Wellness, a movement that aims to redefine African wellness in the face of the pandemic. Lerato has recently partnered with the Wits Business School to kickstart a project that teaches yoga to children from disadvantaged backgrounds. To tell us about how she views yoga through her lens, as well as share some tips on how to practice it, Lerato joins us now via Zoom. Lerato, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and a warm welcome to Morning Live.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's lovely having you on the show, Lerato. Tell us about what sparked your interest in yoga.
So I started doing yoga as a personal practice. I went through this period of depression and just not being able to identify with myself and my body, and started going to therapy, and my therapist suggested it. So I didn't start right away. When I moved to the States a couple of years ago, I went to this gym and they had yoga. So I just started practicing yoga because my therapist told me it would help, and it did. And then when I moved to California, it was during the pandemic, and it was during the Black Lives Matter in California. And, you know, people just needed a safe space, and people also just needed tools and techniques to help them get through, you know, such a crazy time, you know, the pandemic, Black Lives Matter. Luckily for me, I was just living in a community where people had yoga classes. And then for the first time, I discovered, you know, yoga classes, you know, for people of color, and how, you know, safe those spaces felt, and how great it was to practice yoga, you know, with a like-minded community and people that just understood your background and where you came from. And that sparked a passion in me, because I just thought about how, coming from Guyana, you know, coming from Limpopo, I just don't remember, like, you know, such spaces where, you know, young women or women like me were taught how to, you know, breathe, how to be with our bodies, how to be one, and how, you know, the benefits that comes with practicing yoga and, you know, prioritizing wellness. And for me, you know, I just thought I want to create that. And that's how I ended up coming back to South Africa and becoming a yoga teacher to share that experience.
Let's talk about yoga in general, for those who are not so clued up about yoga and what its benefits are, because somebody has been mentioning that he does not see the importance of yoga, because how does that affect or improve your well-being, your physical and mental well-being, because there's not much physical activity?
Yeah, so that is not true about the physical activity. But the simplest way for me to just define yoga, to explain yoga, right, is yoga is breath and movement. Okay. It is breath and movement. We are always breathing, right? I am breathing right now. You're breathing right now. And we're constantly moving from the minute you get out of bed and walk around. So it is something that we can all do. Right? It's something that we can all do. And then yoga is just that awareness of your breath and movement, just taking time to be aware of your breath and movement. I mean, just living in a time like this, just living in a pandemic, it has just been a global trauma and a global, just like, you know, challenge for a lot of people. And it's been hard. And, you know, yoga gives you an opportunity to just go on your mat, or just take 5 minutes for yourself, 10 minutes for yourself, to just be with yourself, right? So, and many people come to yoga for different reasons. I explained that I started going to yoga because, you know, for emotional reasons, because I needed, you know, a safe space to just, you know, be with my emotions and release my emotions. But people come to yoga for different reasons, for physical benefits, right? Yoga is an exercise. There's different types of yoga, different types of lineages. There's power yoga. There's yoga for strength. There's core yoga, you know, and there's Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga is a different lineage of yoga, and hot yoga, where you get to sweat. And, you know, that is why some people actually go to yoga, because they want to have a nice
butt. Do you actually sweat with yoga?
Yes, Ashtanga yoga is the yoga you want to try if you're looking for, you know, power yoga. And that's what I'm saying. There's different types of yoga for everyone. I teach gentle yoga, and there's different types of yoga. People come to yoga as well, like I said, for physical benefits, for emotional benefits, for spiritual for the spiritual benefits. So it's like, finding a practice that works for you and understanding that it is something that you can do and understanding that it's something that is for everyone, for every body type. In yoga, all our bodies are different. So it's about each and every person meeting themselves where they are, realizing that something that I can do, you may not be able to do, or something that you can do, I may not be able to do. And that is a very, very powerful practice, to be present with yourself and present with your body, and to just give yourself time, man, to just pause and reflect. And we benefit a lot from having a healthy relationships with ourselves.
And as a young black woman who's so passionate about yoga, what would you say are some of the myths and the misconceptions around yoga? And do share with us perhaps some of the health benefits of yoga, especially now at a time where the world is still battling with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, we had an Instagram live about a week ago where we were talking about some of the myths, yoga myths. And yeah, there are a lot of yoga myths, you know, and for some of the things that I mentioned, you know, one, coming from Guyana, I never saw anybody practicing yoga. So I would have never thought it's something for me. And I think if you ask anyone right now, anyone who's tuned in or anyone who'd listen to this conversation, what is the first thing you think about when you think of yoga? People will give you similar responses. The first thing that comes to people's mind is, you know, a white body, you know, or you know, a fit body, or, you know, Beverly Hills elite women, you know, going to yoga because it's a luxurious thing. And it's so disconnected from, you know, the representation that is needed in a community where people look like me. So that is the biggest myth about yoga, that yoga is for certain body types and it's for a certain you know, elite class, and it, you know, it's for certain people. And then there's there's so many, you know, so many myths. And I think the biggest one that I have been experiencing since I got back to South Africa is just this resistance when it comes to people's religious practices, and how yoga is just deemed as a Eastern practice or something that is not for us. And I'm like, breathing and moving is for all of us. You know, it's for all of us, and it's something that we can do. And, you know, some men believe they shouldn't be practicing.
You've aroused so much curiosity around yoga, and thank you so much for breaking down some of the myths and the misconceptions around yoga, and perhaps the health benefits of yoga. It has been lovely chatting to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for giving me the time.
Thank you. That was the founder of Olerato Yoga And Wellness, Lerato Malatjie, and she's been talking to us about her passion and how she's recently partnered with the Wits Business School for a good cause.